Hi guys, thank you so much for watching the Indian Business Podcast. If you don't have the time to watch the entire episode, do subscribe to this Clips channel so that you can get the most important parts of the episode in less than 15 minutes. Now I want to bring your attention to your career trajectory. You graduated in 1978, worked in a company called Gemini Capsules. Is that correct?
Yeah, Gemini Capsule.
And then you went to Baba Atomic Center. Walk me through this journey. How did you go from a poor boy in a village without any exposure to then going on to work for Baba Atomic Research Center?
Yeah, all this takes time to in a journey. My school itself, I was a mathematics student. And there was no atlas, there was no dictionary, and there was no Horlicks, there was no Bonvita, there was no parent-teacher association, there was no school bus, there was no Baichu. There was no tuition class, there was no coaching. So I believe whatever I have scored is purely my hard work, because my parents, my mother was third fail and my father was fifth fail.
Okay.
So zero support from anywhere. I feel extremely happy. And I also tell people, because I was never coached, I am very successful. Very, very important.
Because you were never coached.
Never coached, I am very successful. In 12th standard, without a textbook, I studied. And still I scored mathematics 200 out of 200.
Wow.
I believe I was extremely lucky to have no coach around. Even in college, no textbook in hand, go to library, sit and read. So I believe the poverty forced discipline. The very, very important word.
Already forced discipline.
Once you have money, you are in discipline. Once you have money, you see Sole picture those days. Wow, everybody went and saw 4 times, 5 times. McKenna's gold. But then I never had any money to do that. So poverty forced discipline. Many people ask me, that means, don't you think you have missed fun in life? No one had that fun I had. So that's how my BSc first class went through. I was 19 years old, and poverty forced discipline made me to look for a college which is cheapest in the city. And that college was Ramakrishna Mission Vidyalaya, where bhajans you have to sing, otherwise you will not get admission there. On bhajans and the discipline of Ramakrishna Mission Vidyalaya again is poverty forced discipline. So I must tell you, all these things put together creates a product at an age of 19 with a first class in BSc, who will now go, he will not have a problem because he is well-processed graduate.
Well-processed graduate.
After age of 15, I was doing part-time jobs because that was essential for survival. And then everybody rejected me as a candidate for job because of 2 reasons. My English was poor because I studied in Tamil medium. And then second one was everybody expected somebody with experience. No one was willing to give job for a fresher. So these 2 things made me frustrated. And then finally I got a job in a capsule manufacturing company. And it was 150 rupees per month.
Okay.
1978. And then I was happy with the job, happy with the salary. See, one thing, if you notice, I was never unhappy at any point.
So you went from 1 rupee a day to 5 rupees a day, which is
550 per day. That made me feel happy.
400% increase in salary.
Increase in salary, but that was from age of 11 to age of 19. That's a 8 years. And then next year, the 150 became only 175. Was a bit worried. Because I wanted to get married if it reaches 1,000.
1,000?
Yes, because those days 1,000 rupees is said to be a good salary. But then fortunately that company was closed down.
Okay.
Otherwise I might have remained unmarried even today. And that company was closed down. And I was, again I was a library loving man. Poverty forced discipline forced me to get into library for a frugal learning. Writing postcards weekly, 15 of them. And one such postcard was sent to Baba Atomic Research Center, Mumbai. And the job was scientific assistant. And I got an interview letter, which I couldn't believe. It was the breakthrough.
Wow.
So this happened in 1982.
So basically, you did cold email during that time.
Oh, absolutely, and kind of spending 15 in inland, not inland, postcard itself was a very costly affair those days. And I landed in Mumbai, and that's how the transition of a boy from a village to the biggest metro of Mumbai. I borrowed 500 rupees from one gentleman.
Who was that?
That gentleman had a beautiful daughter, and he felt once I get the job, I might be his son-in-law. And I knew I am creating an inconference.
Okay.
But I returned that money within 6 months, so that part is not there. And then landed in Mumbai, and things then different.
So you returned that 500 rupees so that he doesn't return his daughter.
No, he doesn't continue that as a reason to put a discussion. So I had come, and I knew in Mumbai with English you can survive. And I knew in BRC there are plenty of South Indians. So some kind of confidence was there. I told a lie to my mother. Many of my classmates are already there.
Oh, so that she
So
feels
that she
safe.
feels safe that my son is not, exposed to extreme levels of insecurity. But no one was here. And I stayed in VT railway platform for 3 nights.
3 nights.
3 nights I stayed in rail. What I have is 500 rupees only. And I never knew that I have to go back. I thought once interview is over, they will ask, can you join? And I will tell, yes, I have come to join only.
Oh. So did they ask you to join?
No. Once interview was over, I asked them, when will the appointment letter will come? They told it takes 2-3 months.
2-3 months?
Yeah, because they interview in batches, and then they shortlist, and then they decide which man will, which department, which section he will go. It takes time.
So you went back again.
I had to go back.
And mother was happy.
Yeah, my mother was happy, and I had given her a feeling that I might come after 6 months or 1 year. But when she saw me, she was extremely happy. And I told her, I asked her, in fact, a question. Do you know Indira Gandhi? How do I know Indira Gandhi? Only if you know Indira Gandhi, this job is possible.
So was that because of the corruption?
No.
Then?
I have to make my mother happy.
Okay.
Otherwise, she will think the son didn't get the job.
Oh.
Merit, he failed.
Oh, so you wanted to make her feel like you did not fail because of merit. You failed because you didn't have enough connections.
So then she told, the Kadikati posed up, which means, doesn't matter, I'm happy, you are back. And I was thinking they may not send me, because in all government jobs, there is some kind of eyewash happening after deciding who will join. And then I got a offer letter, job offer. And I was extremely happy. I gave it to my mother. She didn't understand anything. She put it before the Bhagavan, and she prayed, Bhagavan, you have opened a new door for the families, 20 years of poverty to be wiped out. And then she allowed me to go, and I was extremely happy. I told everybody in the village, look, I got a job in Baba Atomic Research Center. And boarded the train, came to Mumbai. The fine print was subjected to medical fitness.
Okay.
Now there is a medical exam going on. In the medical exam, I was detected to have color blindness.
Color blindness. So are you colorblind?
Yeah, I am colorblind.
Which colors can't you see?
Partially blind to red and green. Not fully, partially. Some shades of green, some shades of red, I don't know.
So you see them as grey?
I don't see them. Now that lady who was sitting there explained to me, you can't join. She didn't know how to tell. She should have told me this has to get approval. She told you can't join. And I went to the toilet, sat and cried like anything. Because I told everybody in my village that I got a government job. And if I go and tell I don't getting because I have color blindness, this is another new distress to the family. None of them know what it is.
Yeah.
And I cried and went back. And after going back, I told my mother that Indira Gandhi knowing is mandatory, without which this guy, I have to use some way of convincing her. And at least otherwise 2 lakh rupees they are demanding. So this job is not meant for me. So mother, we have wasted money in 2 trips. Don't worry. That was an experience for me. Within 20 days, I received a letter which says, you are medically cleared.
Okay.
Wow.
How is that?
Color blindness is a problem in every job. In some job where color sensitivity is there, you are color blind. Otherwise, 7% of the population is having a color blindness.
7%?
7% of the human population has color blindness.
Wow, I didn't know that.
I think that was not known to me either. And then this time I didn't tell any girl, anybody, neighbor, no one, because aur ek bar wapas aayega. It wasn't making sense. So I chup-chap nikal ke aaya. And I came, I joined. After me joining, I was taken to my boss. One officer takes me to my boss. I go inside and I stretch my hands to shake hand. And my boss is just looking at me. He is not shaking hands. I thought, Bombay bosses are so arrogant or what? They can't even shake hands with subordinates. Then the man who brought me took my hand and took his hand and had shaken both the hands.
Why?
Which means this man is blind man.
So your boss was blind?
Blind. Then I sat in my chair and my punchline to me, how a completely blind man can reject a color blind man.
That is so strange, sir. So are you telling me that in Baba Atomic Research Center, your boss, which I'm assuming was a very senior position, that person was blind?
He lost his eyesight because of some infection, retinal detachment.
Okay.
At an age of 40. By that time, he had become a PhD in biochemistry. They felt that if this man has a reader, a man who can read science for him, he can be contributing. Though I was his reader.
You were the reader?
Yes.
Okay, so a blind man has a color blind man as a reader. So what is the story, sir?
So now, first I felt that, okay, lucky I got this job because this man is blind, he can't reject me. The next point is, what is my career if I work under a blind man? Now, had I been a middle class man, I might have refused to work and gone home. If I go back now, that is the, poverty post situations. I agreed I will work. And trust me, for this, for tea, for breakfast, for everything, he used my shoulder. And after coming back from tea, I will sit in front of him and I will read science for him and he will listen science from me. A BSc man literally teaching science to a PhD man. And never in my life I expected this kind of scale will happen.
So that is what I was wondering, because you worked at a nuclear research center.
Yes.
And you did your MSc in thyroid biochemistry. Both these domains have no connection at all.
There is a connection.
So this is the story behind it.
The story is thyroid treatment is done by nuclear medicine. So thyroid and nuclear had a relationship because isotope of iodine was common. In nuclear gives isotope and thyroid is getting cured because of the iodine isotope. So this was the strange connection. And then he made me to do PhD also. And I was extremely lucky to come to, I always keep telling people until 20 years of age, Bhagavan was against me. Afterwards, Bhagavan was for me. Otherwise, how these things can be explained?
That is so interesting, sir.
So then I earned 2 more degrees.
You got your PhD also, right?
Yeah,
PhD
in thyroid biochemistry. And then 2 promotions I got. A lot of increments I got. Was one of the happiest employees. Though it was a government job where no overtime provided, no one will motivate you to work for longer hours. I worked from 7 a.m. to 11 p.m.
7 a.m. to 11 p.m. That is what? 16 hours
a day.
Wow.
Again, this was poverty forced discipline.
But what motivated you to work for 16 hours a day at a government job? Like you mentioned, no incentives, no motivation.
What do you do if you love the job?
Oh, so you loved the job.
Otherwise, you can't. You start watching the watch 1 hour before your office hour and you will go home. So I used to enjoy, number 1. Number 2, I in Mumbai was living in a Maharashtrian house as a paying guest.
Okay.
And the paying guest landladies would request you to leave home early and reach home late.
Okay.
Because it's a room inside a house. If you live in that room minimum, they love you. So I used to feel I am making my landlady happy. I am learning and I am growing. And I used to go early morning and up to work up to, literally speaking, when I reach to the bed, it will be 11. 8 o'clock I will leave office, but I will reach by train, everything, finally 11 o'clock I will sleep. Hi guys, thank you so much for watching the Indian Business Podcast. If you find value in our work, please hit that subscribe button, because for you it might be a 0 effort task, but for us that subscriber count is an important instrument to get great guests to our podcast and to make this podcast better for you. So if you find value, please subscribe.